Hi guys. We're going to pick up at chapter 3. And before we do that, let's just take a really short little review over what we've already read. Remember, Mrs. Wishy is giving the class an Earth Day challenge. And on that challenge, they've got a list of 10 things that they need to try to complete. And Freddy is worried that he's not going to get it completed. So we're going to start with chapter 3, litter bugs. Robbie came home with me after school. We decided to pick up litter in the neighborhood together. "How was your day, boys?" asked my mom when we walked in the door. "Good," we both said. "How about a snack?" "I'd love a snack," said Robbie. "Thanks, Mrs. Thresher. Come on over and wash your hands in the sink. I want to make sure they are clean before you touch any food." We both washed our hands and my mom started to reach for the paper towels. "Wait, Mom." "No," I yelled. "Freddy, what is the matter?" asked my mom. "We need to dry our hands on a dish towel, not a paper towel." "But you always dry your hands on a paper towel." "I know, but today Mrs. Wishy was teaching us about things kids can do to help the planet." "That is good thinking," said my mom, handing us a dish towel. "I know, but Mrs. Wishy told us that a dish towel isn't paper, and that would help save trees." I went to my backpack and pulled out the Earth Day challenge paper. "See, Mom? We have to do all these things by Friday. If we do, we get to be a member of the green team." "These are great ideas," said my mom. "I really want to be a member of the green team, but I don't know if I can do them all by Friday," I said. "I bet you can," said my mom. "You probably get to check number 9 off the list already." "Oh, yeah, right," I said, smiling. We gobbled down some cheese and crackers, drank some juice, and headed for the door. "Where are you boys rushing off to?" asked my mom. "We're going to pick up trash in the neighborhood," said Robbie. "I think it's number 5 on the list," I said. "Well, then, you'd better each take a bag to put the trash in," said my mom. She handed us each a plastic bag from the grocery store. I have to remind my mom to use the cloth grocery bags, I thought. Before I could tell her, Robbie grabbed my arm. "Come on, Freddy, let's go. We're wasting time." We ran out the door and started walking down the block. "How many pieces of trash do we have to pick up?" I asked. "I think we each have to pick up 10, said Robbie. 10? That seems like a lot. I don't think our neighborhood is that dirty." As I was walking, Robbie reached down, picked something up, and dropped it into his bag. "What was that?" "A gum wrapper," said Robbie. "At least it wasn't the gum. I don't see that anywhere." "That's because it's stuck to the bottom of my shoe," I said. "Yuck," said Robbie. "That's gross." "Tell me about it," I said, trying to scrape the gum off with a stick. We kept walking, and I found a candy bar wrapper, an empty soda can, and a piece of paper. Robbie found an old battery, a paper clip, and another soda can. "Let's go to the park and see what other trash we can find," he said. "Good idea," I said. "Race you there." And there's Freddy and his buddy Robbie racing to the park to try to find some more trash. We took off like rockets with our bags of trash flying out behind us. I beat Robbie by a hair. "Beat ya," I said. "Just barely," said Robbie. "I still beat you," I said, smiling. We walked around the playground at the park. Robbie found a sandwich bag, a straw, and a plastic fork. "It looks like somebody finished their lunch and just dumped the trash on the ground." "And look," I said, "the trash can is so close. It's right over there." We both shook our heads. "People are such litter bugs," said Robbie. I walked over to the basketball courts and found a juice box, a water bottle, and a granola bar wrapper. I found 3 more pieces of trash. "Right here," I said. "You know, when it rains, all this trash gets washed into the storm drain," said Robbie. "Then it gets carried out to the ocean, where it pollutes the water and makes the sea animals sick." "That's terrible," I said. And think about all the animals here in the park, said Robbie. A little squirrel might think a piece of trash was something to eat, but then when he put it in its mouth, he might start choking on it. How sad. Poor little squirrel. We picked up more trash in the park and then started walking back home. Wait, we didn't check to see if we had 10 pieces of trash yet, I said. Oh, I think we have way more than 10, said Robbie. I never realized how many litter bugs we had in our neighborhood, I said. Me neither, said Robbie. We walked past Mrs. Golden's house. Her dog, Baxter, leaped off the front porch to greet us. Hey, Baxter. Hey, buddy. How are you? I said, petting his head. Baxter wagged his tail and stuck his nose in my bag. No, buddy, that's not for you, I said, pulling the bag away. What's in the bag? Asked Mrs. Golden. Trash, we both said. Why do you boys have bags of trash? We are trying to clean up the neighborhood and protect the planet, Robbie said. We are doing an Earth Day challenge for school, I said. We want to be members of the green team. Good for you, boys, said Mrs. Golden. It's important to take care of this beautiful planet that we live on. Baxter ran to the neighbor's lawn, picked up a piece of paper in his mouth, trotted back over to where we were standing, and dropped the paper at my feet. There's Mrs. Golden's dog, Baxter, and he's helping out with the Earth Day challenge. Isn't that awesome? I think Baxter also wants to be a member of the green team, said Mrs. Golden. We all laughed. Good boy, Baxter, I said, rubbing his back. Thanks for the paper. I picked it up and put it in my bag. Well, we'd better be going, Mrs. Golden, Robbie said. Keep up the good work, boys, she said. When we arrived at my house, it was time for Robbie to go home. Well, now we can check number 5 off our list, he said. That's 2 down. 8 more to go, I said, with a big sigh. See you tomorrow, Freddy, for our walk to school. Yep, see you tomorrow. Chapter 4. Walk, don't drive. The next morning, I heard my mom yelling at me from downstairs. Freddy, you need to get a move on. Remember, you're walking to school today. Oh, no, I had almost forgotten. I jumped out of bed, threw on my clothes, and ran into the bathroom. I accidentally bumped into my sister, Susie, who was brushing her teeth. Her toothbrush flew out of her hand and landed in the toilet. Now look what you did, you little pain, said Susie. Why don't you watch what you're doing? Sorry, I said. I'll get it for you. I reached into the toilet and pulled out her toothbrush. Here you go. Are you kidding me? I'm not going to use that toothbrush ever again. That's disgusting. And I can't believe you stuck your hand in the toilet. Wait till I tell Mom. You wouldn't do that, I said. Oh, really? Watch me. She'll flip out. You know what a neat freak she is. Please don't tell her. So there's Freddy and his sister Susie. Freddy and Susie there. And he had gotten her toothbrush out of the toilet. And you know, Susie was probably like, oh. So she's getting ready to tell Mom. And she says, what's it worth to you? How about I let you control the remote for the television for 2 nights? 2 nights? Make it a week. And we have a deal, she said, holding up her pinky for a pinky swear. A week? That's not fair. Then I'll tell Mom as soon as we get downstairs. Fine, I said, a week. I reached for Susie's pinky, but she pulled it back. Now what? No pinky swear until you wash that hand you stuck in the toilet. I washed my hands and then we locked pinkies. Now, go get me another toothbrush, Susie demanded. I tossed her toothbrush in the trash can and got out a new one. Here you go, I said, handing her the clean toothbrush. She started brushing her teeth again. You shouldn't leave the water running when you brush your teeth, I said. What? Said Susie. You shouldn't leave the faucet running. It wastes a lot of water. You should turn it off while you're brushing. What are you, the water police? No, I'm learning about things kids can do to help the planet. Mrs. Wishy gave us an Earth Day challenge list, and that was number 3. If I do all the things on the list by Friday, then I get to be a member of the green team. That sounds kind of cool, said Susie as she turned off the water. It is. That's also why I am walking to school today. That's number 6 on the list. Walking means fewer cars and less pollution in the air. Freddy, called my mom, if you don't come down right this instant, then you're going to have to take the bus. I couldn't take the bus. If I did, then I wouldn't be able to cross number 6 off the list. Coming, Mom, I yelled. Susie followed me out of the bathroom. I stopped, turned to her and said, I think you forgot something. Now what, Mr. Green Jeans? You forgot to turn off the light. You should always turn off the light when you leave a room. You want to be a power saver, not a power waster. Susie went back into the bathroom and turned off the light. Thanks for taking care of the planet, I said, smiling. That was one more thing I could check off the challenge list. I bounded down the stairs and into the kitchen. What took you so long? And what were you and Susie arguing about? My mom said. Nothing, I said. I was just reminding her to turn the faucet off when she brushes her teeth. You know, you and Dad should do that too. You can save a lot of water that way. I'll try to remember to do that tonight, said my dad, looking up from his paper. I looked up at the clock. Robbie is going to be here any minute. I better take my bagel to go, Mom. I'll just eat it while I'm walking. The doorbell rang. There's Robbie now. I grabbed my bagel and my shark backpack and ran to the front door. Ready, Freddy? Asked Robbie. Yep, I said with my mouth full of bagel. A few pieces of food flew out of my mouth. Ooh, gross, said Robbie. Say it, don't spray it, he said, laughing. I smiled and nodded. We started to walk down the street. I think I actually like walking better than riding the bus, Robbie said. Yeah, I said. We don't have to listen to Max or Chloe. Just then, we heard a familiar voice. Hey, watch out, suckers, yelled Max as he sped by on his bicycle. He's the one who should watch out, said Robbie. Yeah, I said. He almost ran us over. See you losers at school, Max called over his shoulder. Just then, Jesse stepped out in front of Max's bike, and he had to slam on the brakes. You guys remember Jessie, the girl that is good friends with Freddy and Robbie? There's Jessie, and she's going to let Max have it. He ran right over them almost. She took hold of his handlebars and said, Hey, loser, why don't you slow down and watch where you're going? You almost ran over my friends. Let go of my bike, said Max. I'll let go as soon as you say you're sorry. Sorry, Max mumbled. What was that? I couldn't hear you. Sorry, Max yelled. That's better, said Jessie. She let go of his handlebars. Run along now, she said. Max took off like a speeding bullet. Jessie was so brave. She was the only one who would stand up to Max, the biggest bully in the whole first grade. Thanks, Jessie, I said. No problem. He thinks he's so tough, said Jessie, but he's really just a big baby. We all laughed. We'd better start running if we're going to make it to school in time for the first bell, said Robbie. Let's race, said Jessie. On your mark, get set, go! I ran as fast as I could. I thought my heart was going to pop out of my chest, but Jessie still beat us both. You are amazing, I said to Jessie, giving her a high five. Thanks, she said, and smiled. We're going to go ahead and read chapter 5, and then we'll finish the book tomorrow. Chapter 5, Plant a Tree. When we got to our classroom, Mrs. Wishy asked, how many of you walked or rode your bikes to school today? A bunch of hands shot up, and there was a chorus of, I did, I did, I did. Wow, that's great, said Mrs. Wishy. Good for you. I thought it was really fun, said Jessie. Me too, I said. Robbie, Freddy, and I had a race to school, said Jessie. Ha ha, that's funny, said Max. I bet they beat the pants off you. Actually, Jessie beat us both, said Robbie. No way. A girl can't run faster than a boy, said Max. Says who, said Jessie. Says me, said Max. Well, you're wrong, said Jessie. Girls can run just as fast as boys. That's right, said Mrs. Whooshy. Girls can be very fast runners. Jessie is probably the fastest kid in the whole class, I said. Jessie smiled. Where's Chloe? Asked Mrs. Whooshy. I'm over here, Chloe called from the cubbies. What are you doing? Mrs. Whooshy asked. Changing my shoes. Did she say changing my shoes? Robbie whispered. I nodded. Yep, you heard her right. I had to wear my sneakers to walk to school today, but they don't match my outfit, said Chloe. I'm taking them off and putting on these pink party shoes instead. Aren't they beautiful? And they match perfectly with my dress. She is so weird, Jessie whispered. Well, you might want to leave your sneakers on, Chloe, because right now we're going to go outside and plant a few trees, said Mrs. Whooshy. Really? I said excitedly. Really, said Mrs. Whooshy. That is so cool, said Max. But my dress is going to get all dirty, said Chloe. Then maybe you shouldn't wear your foofy dresses to school, said Max. But my Nana just brought this one back from Paris, France. I'm sure if you get a little dirt on it, your mother can wash it, said Mrs. Whooshy. Chloe frowned. I don't like dirt. And there's Chloe showing off her dress, her fancy dress to everyone in the class. I love it, said Max, talking about the dirt. And I love all of the things that live in the dirt, like worms and bugs. Ew, 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 said Chloe. Enough, you two, said Mrs. Whooshy. Let's all line up to go outside and plant some trees. We got in a line and followed Mrs. Whooshy out to the playground. One of our local stores donated these baby trees to our school. I thought we could use more shade on our playground, said Mrs. Whooshy. Good idea, I said. It can get really hot out here. When these baby trees get a little bigger, we can sit under them and cool off, said Jessie. Besides giving us shade, does anyone know other reasons why trees are important? Asked Mrs. Whooshy. They make oxygen that we need to breathe, said Robbie. If we didn't have oxygen to breathe, then we would die. Really? Said Max. Really, said Mrs. Whooshy. Wow, I never knew that, said Max. These trees will also help us in another way, said Mrs. Whooshy. You know how the field gets very muddy when there's a lot of rain? We nodded. That's because all of the soil around the grass gets washed onto the field. If we plant the trees around the field, then the roots of the trees will help hold the soil in place and won't all wash onto the grass. You won't have to run around in muddy pools of water anymore. I always thought that trees were pretty to look at, said Jessie. I didn't realize how important they were. And 900 million trees are cut down every year, said Mrs. Whooshy. Why, I asked. To make paper products. I shook my head. That's crazy. Jessie shook her head too. I just can't believe that. If you use less paper, then fewer trees have to be cut down, said Mrs. Whooshy. It's that simple. Now, is everybody ready to get started? Yes, we all said. Well, everybody except Chloe. Mrs. Whooshy put us in groups of 5 and gave each group a big shovel and one of the baby trees. You need to dig a deep hole, dig it deep enough so that we can set the tree down in the ground. Then once the tree is in the ground, you can cover the roots up with dirt. Got it? She said. Got it, we all said. We spread out around the track and got to work. Digging the hole was hard, but really fun. And there's Freddy and Jesse and Robbie, they're all digging and getting that tree planted on the playground. Hey, look what I found, said Robbie, sticking his hand in the dirt and pulling out a bug, a roly-poly. It's so cute, said Jesse. Can I hold it? Sure, said Robbie. Cute? How can you say that disgusting thing is cute, said Chloe. I wouldn't touch it if you paid me $1 million. You don't know what you're missing, said Jessie with a big smile on her face. Hey, Chloe, said Max. Come over here. I've got a surprise for you. Chloe ran over. Oh, I just love surprises. Max pulled a big, fat worm out of his pocket and dangled it in Chloe's face. Chloe screamed, "Ah!" and ran over to Mrs. Whooshy. Mrs. Whooshy, Max just stuck a worm in my face. I think you'll be all right, said Mrs. Whooshy. It's just a little worm. Worms are important for the environment, you know. Well, I don't like them, said Chloe. They are slimy and gross. Okay, everybody, it's time to go inside. Bring your shovels over to me and line up, called Mrs. Whooshy. Boy, oh boy, the morning went quickly, said Robbie. And there's Max being ornery, holding that worm up to Chloe's face. Max shouldn't have done that, should he? He really shouldn't have done that. But Chloe is being a little dramatic, isn't she? Time flies when you're having fun, said Mrs. Whooshy. It's already time for lunch. Woohoo! I yelled and pumped my fist in the air. I'm starving. I'm going to ask you a special favor while you're at lunch today, said Mrs. Whooshy. Please save all of your trash and bring it back to the classroom with you. I want to have a talk about it. All right, guys. Tomorrow we are going to finish Ready, Freddy, Save the Earth. I hope you liked those few chapters that we read today. And I love reading about Freddy and his buddies and all the crazy stuff that they do. So tomorrow we're going to finish it off. And then Thursday on Zoom, we're going to talk about Earth Day and we're going to talk about the book. Okay? So I will see you guys again tomorrow. Bye.